Okay guys, I'm working on getting these shorter. So here we go. Today I want to talk about using your religious beliefs as a way of escaping responsibility. Personally, I know I did. Maybe you're great and you didn't. But it's not about what you say, it's about what you're really thinking and feeling inside when you say it. So, growing up, I didn't have a lot of stability. I had some, and thank goodness I did. But I grew up overseas. A lot of you did. You know what that all entails. You know that it means that you have a hard time readjusting to the American culture when you arrive back. And a lot of us, I think, cling to the religious aspects of our world that existed overseas as missionary kids, if you were one. And we cling to that when we get back over here because it is the only constant. It is the only culture that remains essentially the same from continent to continent. So it's also, in my case, besides providing that stability, as long as you believe that, as long as you're in that circle, you have a support group. You have a church. You have a bunch of people who can be there for you and understand you, at least on some level, at least on the religious level. They agree with you, and you can fit in. It is the one place you can fit in. You hear what I'm saying here, all of you MKs? I'm not saying that what you believe today is only because it provided stability for you. I am saying that it's very possible that you clung to the religious community because it was the only community that you could fit into when you got back here, at least to some degree. So to question that community, to question the beliefs that placed you in that community is very, very frightening, because as an MK, you want to fit in with somebody. You don't want to completely feel like an outsider for the rest of your life. And you might feel at home with your family, but you don't feel at home with anyone else. So, on top of the fact that I clung to that as my stability and the constant in my life that made re-entry somewhat bearable, I also realize now that God was also my crutch. Now, I am going to go out on a limb here and say that most of you have been in the same place at least at one point in your life. Some of us are still there. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to point it out. So, for instance, if I'm making a cake and I run out of sugar, and the only reason that I am praying that there is more sugar in that cupboard is not because I'm going to die of starvation if it's not there. It's because I don't want to go to the store. So, it seems a little bit selfish. The same thing with all the other little things in life. The truth is, a lot of times when we pray for wisdom, it sounds great. I know you mean well. I meant well. But at the end of the day, we're praying for wisdom and guidance because we don't want to take the responsibility for making that decision if it's going to get us in trouble, or if it's going to be the wrong thing to do, or if there are going to be consequences that we don't want to deal with, or if it's going to affect our stability in life. I have spent the first 5 or 6 years of my life back here in the United States just trying to be stable and refusing to do anything that would negatively affect that stability that I barely managed. So I stayed in churches, kind of. I stayed in that community. I clung to that. I stayed in one job. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to take risks. I didn't want to be in a new situation that I didn't understand. I didn't make friends very well because I was afraid of getting out there, because I was afraid that getting out there would mean that I would lose what little stability I did have, because I'd be in a new situation and I'd be required to learn things that I didn't want to have to learn. It was a crutch. So when I wanted to get a new job, I had to pray about it for a month. Was it because I didn't know what to do or what I wanted to do? No, it was because I was afraid that if I did what I wanted to do, there would be consequences that I didn't want to deal with. And so I needed someone to fall back on and say, well, he told me it was a good idea. I got this feeling that said, we're good. So I did it. And now look at me. I'm out of work. I don't have a car. I don't have an income. My stability is severely affected right now. But at least he told me it was okay, so I can handle life. And I'm calm and peaceful. It's a sham. For me, it was a sham. It isn't always. But think about it. Just think about it. Ask yourself, what are the things that I do or used to do that were really just me using him as a crutch? It's important to identify. It's important to know. Have a good one, guys. See you later.